He's got a minute.
Comes every full moon. Ready to go? You guys ready?
Hey, upstairs.
Yeah,
He
was
looked-
right
He
there.
was up there and looked out the window, so I think he's ready.
All right. Now wait till you guys ready.
So check to see if he was ready.
There he is.
He has enough.
He's got it.
Good evening. I want to call to order our planning and zoning meeting for September 15th, 2014. And the first thing we'll have is call to order. Ms. Secretary?
Mrs. Protos?
Here.
Mr. Parker? Mr. Carr?
Here.
Mr. Stavropoulos? Mr. Gialusis? Ms. St. Arnold? Here. Mr. Vinson?
Here.
Chairman Francis?
Here. Okay. I guess the next thing we're going to have is Mr. Daniel to give us the quasi-judicial announcement. I don't think we don't have any minutes for tonight, do we? No. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I see that we don't have a tremendous turnout tonight. I'm happy to make the entire quasi-judicial announcement, or I can save everyone some time and just say to you that this is a quasi-judicial proceeding. I'm assuming you guys are the applicant this evening. There will be evidence presented, and the board will make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners based on the evidence presented. There's a whole spiel about interveners, but I don't see anybody here to intervene, so I won't go through it with you. There'll be a process here where the city will make a presentation first, followed by yourselves if you choose to make one. You have the right to make and cross-examine witnesses and present evidence should you so choose, and then the board will vote on the recommendation. Okay? Could I ask you to be, whoever's going to speak tonight and give testimony, please stand and be sworn. Yep, please.
Just stand and raise your hand there.
You raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give this evening is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but? Thank you much. Before we move on to the application itself, are there any ex parte communications on the application before the board?
No.
Any conflicts of interest?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. This is application 14-39, Kaiser. And we'll let our interim planning and zoning member speak for us at this point to answer any questions.
Let's see how much court I have here.
I'll get comfortable. Thank you. Yes, this is an application for a conditional use approval for a Series 2 COP alcohol license. That's on-premise consumption of beer and wine in the HB Highway Business Zoning District. The applicants are William and Nancy Kaiser. It's at 900 Backwater Drive. It's zoned HB. Land use is IL Industrial Limited. The surrounding uses to the north is Cicadia Monument. To the east is the Ferguson Lighting Building in US 19. To the south is a commercial boat storage, and to the west is undeveloped and vacant land. The Kaisers currently operate a 36-seat barbecue restaurant called KCQ Barbecue. It's open on Fridays and Saturdays from 11 to 7, and they are looking to expand their beverage selection to include beer and wine for on-premise consumption. And the Comprehensive Zoning and Land Development Code requires that a conditional use be granted in order to allow the issuance of the 2 COP license. Under the standards for review, staff has reviewed the criteria and it conforms with all the requirements of the Land Development Code. We do not anticipate any issues or any negative impacts with the criteria that's listed on pages 2 and 3 of the report. Concerning other evidence, the Technical Review Committee did review the application at their meeting on June 17th, had no objections to the request. There were some comments made, one of which was compliance with the city's fats, oils, and grease ordinance, and then information regarding the distance to church and the nearest school, which the property is well beyond the particular routes that are required for alcohol license. The applicant did comply with the fog ordinance. There's a copy of the report dated June 18th that's in your materials. The staff recommendation is to approve the conditional use request to grant the Series 2 COP alcohol license for 900 Backwater Drive. We did send out notices to all the property owners within 200 feet, and the property was posted. We have not had any inquiries regarding the application. And then finally, for your review, our maps showing the location of the establishment, showing locations of the nearest church and school, the fog inspection form, an aerial photo, a zoning map, and then a floor plan of their restaurant. And then just quickly to put that in the record regarding the distance between the restaurant and the nearest church and school. The nearest church is Lake Tarpon Church of Christ, which is approximately 4,391 feet from their property. The nearest school is Tarpon Springs Elementary, which is at 525 North Diston, and that's about 3,800 feet from the subject property. And as you know, the alcohol license may not be issued for an establishment that's within 200 feet of a pre-existing church or school, so they're well beyond that distance. That's all I
Okay,
have.
thank you. Do we have any questions for staff, Mr. Brooks?
I do. Just for my own information, the 22 seats in this application, do they have to be under the roof, or do they count the ones outside?
36 seats.
I believe they have 36 seats.
Well, let's have,
The occupancy is 36, but they've got,
Okay, so that includes inside and outside.
correct.
All right, what is the regulation on how many you have to have under the roof?
Well, they have a capacity for 36, so they're not at their capacity.
But is there a rule, just from my own knowledge, that you have to have so many with inside the eating area to qualify?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so, no.
We don't know.
The city attorney has indicated no.
Okay, I just wondered.
No, there's not. Are you asking a question as a criteria of issuing the 2 COP?
Yeah, I just wondered, it used to be years and years and years ago, and it's changed through the years, that you had to have so many inside under the roof to qualify. They didn't count the outside. And it's changed, and I just wondered, how has it changed now?
Yeah, that is not a present condition.
It's
I can't
not the
speak, I can't
present.
speak to how the requirements were before. That is not a present condition or criteria under the
Well, I figured it
ordinance
was
in
all right
place.
because it passed to come here, but I just needed to know that for my own information. You know, they used to only count what was under the roof of the establishment.
anything else?
That's it.
Mr. Carr? Mr. Vincent?
None.
Ms. Anaro?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, let's hear-
I move for
Wait, well, wait, wait.
approval.
We have to hear from the applicant.
Okay.
Would you like to, Ms. Kaiser, would you like to step up to the lectern there and give us your name and address, please? And you can adjust the microphone, and actually comes off of there too, if you need to, but.
This good?
It's good.
William Michael Kaiser, and a lot of people know me by Mike. We've just opened this up Saturday after Thanksgiving, and it's just, I still work a full-time job, and I used to do competition barbecue in Kansas City, and been cooking around here for a lot for the Boys Club and the high school and fundraisers, and we started this up. Of course, with barbecue, you need a little beer, and just, that's basically, we just have small place and just beer and wine. And you need to come down on Fridays or Saturdays. So that's where we're at.
Okay. Let's see if we have any questions. Mr. Protos, do you have any questions for the
It's a very
applicant?
good place to eat.
Mr. Carr? Mr. Vincent?
No
Ms. Arnold?
Mm-mm.
Okay, have a seat.
Thank you.
I'm going to close the public portion of the meeting and entertain a motion.
So moved.
There's nobody out here to ask her for, if there's anybody against or for it, so I'll entertain a motion.
So moved for approval?
Second.
Okay. First, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
before we take a vote, I just would like to disclose, I haven't had any ex parte communications with the applicant about this application. I have eaten at their establishment a number of times, and I do highly recommend it, but we haven't discussed this application.
Okay.
I just want to say I was disappointed. I thought we'd have barbecue here tonight.
Okay.
It's very clean. Yeah.
Okay, we have a roll call.
Mrs. Protos?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. St. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Chairman Francis?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Best of luck to you.
Very
And,
good.
Best of luck.
Keep.
Now we want you to become the Florida champion. I know, but I got to watch everything I eat. When I come there, I eat a lot.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night.
Congratulations.
Okay. Next thing is the election of officers. I'm termed out. I'm at 10 years, and that's it. City clerk told me I'm done, so.
Can you come back?
Are you asking for nominations?
I'm asking for nominations for chairman.
Mr. Chair, before we go forward, let me jump in here where I'm not been asked a question, but under your rules, your annual meeting in January is where you typically elect officers, of course. But
Right.
with your vacancy created by your being termed out, Rule 1.5 states that vacancies in office shall be filled immediately. That's why we're here tonight to elect.
Say that again.
Vacancies in office shall be filled immediately under your rules. So rather than waiting till the next meeting,
right,
beginning
right.
with no chairman, we thought it was a good idea to put it on this agenda, so we go into next meeting with a chairman. If the chairman elected tonight happens to be the present vice chairman, we'll need to do an election for vice chairman as well. Please
Yeah,
bear in
yes,
mind, though, that these will need to be done again in January at your annual meeting. I just want to make sure that the board is clear on that. Okay?
Well, by then, they may want to hang themselves.
Of course.
I didn't hear that. Well, but speaking of my,
I said by then, they may want to hang themselves.
oh, yes, they may not be here. They may run away.
Are you open now for nomination?
Yes, ma'am, we
I
are.
would like to nominate Bill Vinson for chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board.
Second.
Any other nominations?
Ask that nominations close and we proceed.
I will. That's
Thank you.
my job. Nominations are not closed. Roll call.
Mrs. Protos?
Pardon me,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I need to take a motion. You've got a nomination, you need a motion on that nomination and a
We did
second.
get one.
You had a nomination. A nomination does not serve as a motion under the applicable rules.
Oh, so you have to make a motion,
Oh,
not a nomination?
okay,
She
I
gets it.
move that Bill Vinson I nominate Bill Vinson as chairman of Planning and Zoning.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
that's what we just did.
Okay, well, now we can have roll call.
Yep.
Mrs. Protos?
Yes,
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. St. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Chairman Francis?
Yes.
I want to thank you, Ted, for being chairman all these years. It was
You're
exciting with you
welcome.
here.
I'm
as
sorry?
chair- It was exciting with you as chairman
Uh,
of the meetings.
It was very exciting.
It was.
time to time.
And I'm sure we'll continue to be exciting.
It's your floor, so
We are now open for the seat of vice chairman. Nominations are now open.
What, Mr. Chairman?
You don't need to fill,
We don't need to, we've
Yeah.
got a vice chair.
That will come up in our annual meeting on
Oh,
January.
okay.
Because
Oh.
there's not a vacancy.
Yeah.
Right, but okay. I didn't know if it meant we had to go through the whole scenario.
yeah, Mr. Vinson was not presently the vice chair, correct?
Correct.
No.
You are not the vice.
Mr. Carr.
You're done. You're done.
Still is.
Okay, so that takes care of that. Congratulations, Mr. Vincent.
Thank you.
Okay, staff comments.
I would just like to thank Mr. Francis for the 10 years of service to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think it's commendable that you have been on this board for that long, and for being here on on Monday nights, and it's just an incredible achievement to give so much of your time and your talents, and the city is better off for that. And on behalf of the city, we have a couple of small tokens of appreciation for you I'd like to present to you.
check that out.
Okay, thank you.
Certificate of Achievement.
Wow,
For the 10 years of service.
thank you very much.
And this is a letter from Mayor Archie, again, thanking you on behalf of the city
Okay.
for all of the time and effort you've put into helping make Tarpon Springs a better place.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I'm always around to serve. As long as I'm able to, I'll serve. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Okay, we'll go to board comments.
I'm glad to see everybody again.
I think Mr. Vincent had some
Got some
questions.
comments.
Future,
Well, first of all, I'd like to also thank you, Dr. Francis, for your tenure of service on this board. Your leadership has been very helpful to the operation of the board, and I know we've attended some seminars and land use planning together, and you're very diligent in everything you've done, and I appreciate that.
thank you very much, Bill.
I do have a question because of the staff changes. I don't know if Ms. Lemons can advise us on what the situation is. We don't have much communication with the city on a day-to-day business since we're volunteers here on the board. And I don't know if you can just sort of bring us up to date on the status of the department that we work with.
Sure. Several of us have been trying to just keep the wheels on the train and keeping the projects in the loop, and so we've been able to do that. We have made an offer to a gentleman. His name is Josh Langen. He was most recently working in South Carolina. He's accepted the position. He is scheduled to take his physical on September 29th, and he will be here then, and pending that he passes the physical, he'll be starting sometime after that. And then we've got our second round of interviews for the director that we're doing on the 25th of September, and hope to have somebody on board, shortly after that as well. So at that point, we would have both of those positions filled.
So the gentleman would be replacing Rodney's position?
Yes,
And then we would still need to fill Renee's position?
correct.
Do we have a big
Thank you, I appreciate
backlog?
that.
Do we have a big backlog of material to work on to put before the board? I mean, is it
Applications.
stacked?
There will be applications coming before you. I wouldn't call them a backlog. It was a little slow in July. It was 4th of July when Renee left, and things were a little slow. There were some pending projects like the Bayshore Heights, but that wasn't ready yet. Some things were just moving along, and so they've continued to move along. And you'll be seeing next month probably Bayshore Heights and some others. We've got an application from Racetrack. We have one from Lexington Reserve. I don't know if that one will be ready yet. But there really isn't a backlog, but we're moving these projects along.
Will the changing of the ordinance for bed and breakfast on the bayou come before us do you have any information yet on that?
Yeah, that will be coming before you as well.
Do you know when?
That we were putting on hold for the new planners to come.
The Golden Crescent area, yeah.
Right, because we were trying to take other priorities. Actually, the biggest challenge has been the day-to-day zoning questions, and there's a tremendous amount of activity in this city that I had no idea. So that's been one of the things that we've been trying to keep up to date with, is just the day-to-day, requests for zoning information and dividing lots and building pools and all of those kinds of things. And the major applications, you'll start to see them October, November, December.
Thank you. I appreciate your, filling in the interim and helping move the papers along and helping us. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank Karen too. And we've communicated several times to see what was going on, and Karen's been doing an outstanding job for the city. So I want to thank you. I'm glad you're here. we need your help. Okay, is there anything else?
I've got a comment. I just want to say thanks for your service also.
Thank you.
I know you've got to deal with a lot up here, and citizens kind of not happy with you at times, probably. So, one thing too I wanted to bring up is I want to recognize Richard Haig. He's been part of the city. I know everybody's probably heard him at some point. He's going to be retiring. My understanding is October 1st from the city, and he has about 30 years experience, and I think that's a pretty big deal. So I want to publicly say congratulations on his retirement. I know it probably wasn't the way he wanted to go out, but I just want to recognize him also in a public setting, that his work was appreciated in the city with everything he did. So
It's sad that we're losing him, because he really did a wonderful job in protecting the tree canopy of Tarpon, and he was on top of it even on weekends. And I think we're going to fill a little bit of a hole there with his expertise. He was highly respected not only in Pinellas County but the state of Florida. And like I said, sometimes they say people cannot be replaced, or they can be replaced. He's one that will not be replaced to the fullest that he's served this community. He really has done a lot as an arborist, and we have been very lucky to have him here.
I too like to thank Richard Haig for his service to the city. He was an arborist with the city back many years ago when I was on the city commission, and so I heard from him quite a bit during the proceedings with the city commission. And he was very competent at all times, and also his integrity was unquestionable, and just the highest integrity. And so he was a real credit to the city.
Thanks. Is there anything else brought forth at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
yes.
Second?
Okay. Roll call.
Aye.
Is that unanimous? Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Fastest meeting ever.
Mr. Vincent? I'll be.
Richard Haig.